show with Tommy. I haven't recorded.
It's our first Saturday show ever. I just cracked the cold one. I'm ready to get this whole thing up and started, man. It's the eve of football season. We've done enough fanfare trying to get it all kicked off. So let's just get going. Joe, you're here. I'm here. It's Saturday. College football was pretty dry all day long.
Yeah, I don't know. That Florida State Charleston Southern barn burner earlier today. I don't know. Tough to miss that. That's box office material right there. Although I will say I did watch a couple games that were good. The matchups were who gives a shit, but there were a couple good games, as in Pitt and Penn State was a fun game, and I guess Central Michigan upset Oklahoma State on the last play of the game. So that's pretty cool, I guess.
Really, I told you, man. I got some work done today and did a ton of research this morning, and then I fell asleep. I watched nothing in regard to college football, so shame on me. I've got some things recorded I'll go back and look at tonight, but it's NFL Eve. The magic is in the air, and it's a season of new possibilities, and all our dreams are about to set forth. I actually just started feeling this way about baseball again a couple years ago, but now, come to think of it, there's just nothing like the NFL. Nothing like the excitement that comes in, and I think it's just because of the sheer volume of games in baseball. You get kind of worn out on it after about a month. At least I do. But then in the NFL, you've got 17 weeks.
You go through those midsummer lulls in baseball, especially where it just has the excitement hasn't hit yet. Normally, it starts to get interesting around this time and into October. October is a great month altogether with sports.
It is. We've talked about that for years. October is probably both you and I's favorite month out of the year. A lot of baseball, playoff baseball, good playoff baseball, pennant chases. NFL is kicking off. There's probably 25 straight days with a college football game. Just cool month out of the year. We just got it all kicked off through some Facebook and Twitter connections. We've got a really big Sunday swim setup happening. So set up your fantasy league, set up your pick'em pools on fantasy on I'll be all right on SundaySwim.com. That's a good one that we got going. I think we're going to have somewhere around 40 people in the first league, so 40 heads with a little under-the-table contribution and probably set up with a top 5 take-all. It'll be a pretty cool run, so I'm looking forward to using that. And now it's after all the beta testing, we're able to introduce it to the public, and it's very cool. Our friends at SundaySwim.com have helped us out tremendously, so we're going to keep helping them out more because it's just a lot of fun to do. But getting right into it, let's start with what happened Thursday night, the way the season got kicked off. I know that you had your particular eye on number one, and that couldn't have been easy for you to watch.
I shrugged my shoulders, yelled some few choice curse words. Just typical for me. It's what it sounds like. I saw this guy that I thought Cam Newton couldn't be hurt, and then I see him hurt bad. I mean, not hurt bad, but getting off to a point where he had to come out of the game for a couple seconds. And I'm looking at this like this would only happen to me. I drafted this guy. This is why it's happening. But on a serious note, though, that's a shame. Those refs ought to be ashamed of themselves the way they were letting him tee off on his helmet like that. I mean, put Tommy Boy Brady up there and tell me he gets hit. Tell me what the outrage. All three of those guys who hit Cam Newton would have been suspended if they'd have hit Tom Brady like that.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
No doubt. Joe, I couldn't agree with you more. I was just watching that game. The only thought going through my head was, like, if that is Brady, Rodgers, there's flags flying. You're not hitting those guys in the head. You're not hitting Russell Wilson in the head. You're not hitting Drew Brees in the head. You're just not getting away with it. Now, bigger guys like Roethlisberger, I've seen him take shots and not catch flags. He was one guy that did come to mind where I've seen him take some shots and not get it. I mean, it'd be like, look, Brady, Rodgers, you hit either one of them, the flags are flying. Andrew Luck, the flags are flying if you hit him as well. I hate to make a race issue out of this, and I don't want to. I think it might just be more of a perspective and attitude issue, but Cam is clearly being treated differently, clearly. I don't think I can't understand how they let some of those hits go away.
Yeah,
he's
he's
helmet to the jaw.
Yeah, I agree. Rules are rules. I mean, the NFL needs to be more consistent, not just with their on-the-field policies, but their off-the-field policies. They're all over the place. They need to just start being more consistent.
I agree, and it's this should become a hot button issue because CTE head trauma is such an issue in the NFL. But he was clearly getting whacked, helmet to helmet. They were leading with their helmet. We had talked about it pre-game that for Denver to win that game, they're going to have to go out and hit Cam and hit him often. But you got to hit him legally. I don't care how big he is. I don't care.
Now I'm the first one on Sundays. I get pissed off with all these ticky-tack. I call them pussy penalties that they have in the NFL, where they, you're not allowed to, I think you're not allowed that. They take a lot of that out of the game. Where I look at bad guys back in the day, where a Ronnie Lott, a Steve Atwater, a John Lynch. I don't even know if those guys could have played in today's NFL.
I don't know if they could have either. Rodney Harrison certainly couldn't have.
Rodney Harrison, no. Oh yeah, Mr. All High and Mighty when he's around Coach Dungy. But
right.
on the field, he talked about wanting to bust people's knees, poke people's eyeballs out. I mean, yeah, okay, that's Mr. Integrity right there.
It's true. He is high and mighty in front of Coach D. But yeah, I got to tell you what, man, I was watching this, and I do think that they got away with murder. And Cam took it like a champ. He took a pounding, though, and he's not going to be able to make it 16 weeks with that kind of beating. I'm sorry. I don't care how many blackjacks he puts on. You get hit in the head that many times, you're going to get dinged, you're going to get rattled, and you're going to have to come out for your own safety. And he won't. He won't.
No, he showed one thing. He showed he is one tough son of a bitch in that game.
He's tough, no doubt about it. But those hits were, especially the Brandon Marshall hit in particular, he launched his head up and forward straight into the face mask. That was it. Might as well have been a punch. It was a punch with his helmet. And I have no problem if you're listening out there and you're thinking like, when did you two become a bunch of softies? I have no problem with rough and tumble, hard-nosed football. I want to see people hitting and something. But if you're going to have, like you said, Joe, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like you said, if there's a helmet-to-helmet hit, it's a flag. You have to keep it consistent. That's it. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. The rules are rules, and it's not. You can't just go between the rules by saying this guy qualifies for this rule, but this guy doesn't. It doesn't make sense. You can't do it that way.
The world shouldn't work that way. I have to wonder, though, we know it was in Denver's game plan, especially in the second half, to go hit him because he was a different player in the second half altogether. He was not the same player he was in the second half. So it was in their game plan to hit him. I get it. But I'm not going to be surprised. We had Bounty Gate years ago with Greg Williams and Sean Payton. I'm not surprised if Wade Phillips walked into the locker room and said, all right, boys, you got to thump him. You got to hit him high, hit him hard. They hit him hard.
No, but that's just football. I have no issue with that. The Greg Williams was, let's take him out of the game. Let's hurt this man. That is different when you're talking about wanting to hurt somebody. But when you're going out there, just say knock him, hit him hard. But that's just good old-fashioned football, if you want my opinion.
But they're launching in his helmet, and I think
no. That's different. I mean, that's more along the lines of you're aiming to hurt somebody. I don't think Wade Phillips. I mean, I don't know, but I don't think Wade Phillips would have told him you need to hit him, smack him in the helmet, come in there flying with your head.
Sure looked like it.
Well, I think they were. I think they were anyway.
Yeah, they did. It just sure looked like that was the plan. So I don't know. I did feel for Cam there in that situation. I thought that, but you know what? The beating he took, he still looked great on that last drive.
Shit. Now maybe once they realized the first time it didn't get called, why not go him like that again if it's not going to get called?
Keep thumping him. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. No. That was what happened. They kept getting away with it. And I like when the refs let teams play, but that's a rule you violated. But we've made our point clear. So move on. I do think Cam played really well down the stretch there in that last minute. They drove them downfield. The throw to the sidelines was pretty incredible. That was a 90-mile-an-hour fastball he threw from his hip to get them in field goal range. It was a bad snap. Nothing on
Cam's a superstar. The guy's a superstar. There's no question about it.
He is, and you drafted him early and often, and I get it. I understand the pick. He's going to be your running back. He's going to be your passing machine. He's going to be a yardage machine, but he's got to stay upright. And look, he's not going to play Denver every week, thankfully.
No. That's very good for you. You're not going to face the and luckily for him, he's in the NFC South where you're going to get a lot of cookie-cutter defenses in that division. So.
He played really well, though, and that Denver team is no joke defensively again.
No.
That was established. Trevor Siemian was pleasantly surprising, not great by any stretch.
He is what we thought he could be, and I think that's what they want him to be. He's exactly what they want him to be. He's poised. He can make the throws when he needs to. He's not going to do anything fancy. He's just going to run the offense. He's a smart guy, and he's just going to and they're going to let the defense take him to wins. That's the plan there.
It is. Do you know anybody that benched C.J. Anderson in their fantasy league?
I might know somebody.
Yeah, I heard of this guy doing it, and he's, dude. As soon as he popped that first run, I thought you just screwed your whole night up. I don't know what I did. I overthought it, whatever the case might have been. But I'm ready to move on from it. I left 25 points and C.J. Anderson on my bench. And
I don't know. Maybe boy named Christine is going to have a big game for you tomorrow.
I think so, and I want to get into some of that stuff right now. I do want to leave the Carolina-Denver game with this final thought, though. We had opened up Thursday night pregame with the discussion that is the Super Bowl hangover a real thing, and we've really come to the determination that it's not. Like sophomore slumps and like all these things, like GOAT versus, and it's just not a real thing. I don't believe in it. You don't believe in it, but I got to say this. There is a tendency for trends and patterns to continue, and as for the Carolina Panthers, going into Denver, getting beat on a missed field goal after getting physically throttled all night long, this is a really good way to start a Super Bowl hangover season. It's just a really good way to do it. You get off on a bad break, you essentially lose the game on a bad snap. Graham Gano hits that kick, probably 19 out of 20 times he hits that. It was the bad snap, threw him off. This is a bad way for Carolina to start their season. They got to come home an extra couple days to think about it. It's a bad way. It's just a bad way.
You know what, though? I think they're going to be just fine. Like I mentioned before, they play in the NFC South. I don't see any team being a threat in that division. I think they'll be okay. Denver, no matter if the Denver Broncos are 5-11 or if they're they're 12-4. I mean, Denver, Mile High is always a tough place to go play.
You got it.
No matter what, and you're facing a very, if not all-time great defense. So I wouldn't really look too much into that loss. That's a tough loss, and it's against a very good team. So
we'll find out how it all plays out. I want to segue that right into the NFC South and a game that I was looking at tomorrow. Tampa traveling to Atlanta. Tampa is a 2.5-point dog on the road. I've actually seen this as high as 3. You haven't seen it at 3 points, have you?
I haven't.
You have 3.5.
Yes, I've seen it at 3.
I think this is Winston's breakout season. I do. I think he's got some targets there. Not so much Mike Evans as much as I think Vincent Jackson is really his reliable target. Vincent Jackson is a professional. He catches the ball. I can see Tampa going in there and giving a very mediocre Atlanta team a very hard time. But let me ask you this. Mike Smith is the new defensive coordinator in Tampa. How much of Mike Smith's scheme is Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons offense comfortable with and comfortable enough to make decisions at the line of scrimmage to see what they're doing? Are they going to be able to recognize some things that they may have watched for years playing under Mike Smith that Matt Ryan may be able to get them into the right play pretty often? Do you expect a big day from Julio Jones because he's going to be guarded by probably Vernon Hargreaves? Maybe Alteron Burner. He's a lot bigger than both of them.
Julio Jones is that guy. I expect a big day from him every Sunday.
Sure.
I mean, with especially these new rules, we talk about rules in the NFL. I mean, it's very unfair to defensive backs, especially when you're guarding a freak mutant like Julio Jones. It's almost made for these guys to have huge seasons. And as long as these rules still exist, guys like Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, Dez Bryant even, guys like that, they're almost an Odell Beckham. They're almost an impossible cover with these rules. You can't touch them. You can't be physical with them. It's impossible.
So, do you think that this gives Matt Ryan an edge against the Buccaneers? Because this is where I'm leaning. I think Tampa. I love Tampa plus the 3. I think that they can win this game outright. They may win it by a field goal. It's a division game. Division games are tight. We know this.
Yes.
I think Tampa goes on the road and has a good opportunity to win this game. But I have to wonder if maybe, just maybe, Matt Ryan might have an edge just recognizing Mike Smith's defense. So this one there, that's the caveat there that scares me with this game. I think you're right. I think you expect Julio Jones to have a nice afternoon no matter where he is. He's only going to have a couple duds throughout the course of the season, and I don't see Bruce Grimes or Vernon Hargreaves giving him the dud. I just don't. I do see, on the other hand, if they double cover Julio Jones, I see Mohamed Sanu actually making his statement game for the Atlanta Falcons this weekend.
Yeah.
He's another good-sized target. He's a nice number 2. I think that might be one of my sleepers, especially in daily fantasy sports, DraftKings, FanDuel. Mohamed Sanu is going to come